Hey guys, Zombie B here. So, I don't like talking about 2016's Batman vs Superman. Not a real highlight of my nerddom, to say the least. And this video is probably going to help me communicate some of my issues with it. And I thought I'd do it in a sort of more fun way. Now, Batman Brave and the Bold is not a serious show. As far as comic book anything goes, this is the most silly, the most stupid, the most over-the-top classic comic book style show, and that's actually why I love it. It both parodies and captures the classical comic vibe, you know? A lot of people don't really like it, I understand that. It's very detached from the serious thing that a lot of comic book things are going for right now. You know, like comparing it to Young Justice, there's no comparison. But when it comes to Batman vs Superman, there surprisingly is a lot of comparison, and that's what I'm going to do today. And the fact that Brave and the Bold is essentially a joke, and Zack Snyder's movie is the most serious movie, that makes this interesting. So in this episode of Brave and the Bold, there's a fight between Batman and Superman. So it's got a lot of mirroring elements to the movie. So without any further ado, here are 10 reasons why this episode of Batman Brave and the Bold is better than 2016's Batman vs Superman. Number 10. It has proper motivation. So in this episode, Superman is exposed to red kryptonite. Similar to regular kryptonite, it has an effect on him. But in this scenario, it just turns him into a dick. Like a total fucking dick. He immediately goes to overthrow Metropolis in the most arrogant asshole way. It's so fun to watch. And the red kryptonite only lasts for a little while, so Batman tries to hold him off before he does too much damage to the city, to the people, etc. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Explained right there in those few sentences. Superman has his sort of motivation, that is, he's being manipulated. Batman has his motivation as being the protector, as always. And you understand why it's happening, and for that reason it's enjoyable to watch. You know that you're on Batman's side, you know where it's going, you know why it's happening. Zack Snyder, you made yours so convoluted and overcomplicated and thrown in with all these retarded elements that just don't fit, and I only watched it the one time. In that time I should understand why the fuck it's happening, but no, when you're staring more intently at the one dead pixel on the screen, then you know you fucked up. So let me try. I don't know. Batman, he doesn't know Superman, he thinks that anything could be a threat if there's even a 1% chance. Batman's just being a dick. Superman is being a dick. I don't know. His mum, Lex Luthor's got some bullshit. Do I need to try? It's a long ass movie. It's a drawn out heckin' movie. It goes for way too long. And by the end of it, when they do actually fight, you're meant to be properly invested. You're meant to know where they're both coming from. Like you do in the Brave and the Bold episode. But really, you're just like, why is this happening? Seriously, Superman, you can find your mum in 2 seconds. Lex Luthor. And when that's what you're feeling, when it finally comes to the title moment, Batman vs Superman, then it's not the right way to go about it. I feel like I probably could have explained this better, but I don't want to try. When it comes to Batman vs Superman, it is just so convoluted and messy and over the top serious. So make of it what you will. Number 9. It has this line.
Super ventriloquism.
Number 8. Lois isn't played by Amy Adams. I'm sorry. I can't stand this chick. I really can't stand her in anything she's in. Her face just annoys me. And I don't for a second see her as Lois Lane. Lois Lane, you know, she's a journalist. She's got this established look that Amy Adams doesn't capture at all. She's got this personality, this drive that Amy Adams can't do at all. No, 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 no. How you imagine her is she's a journalist, she has a relationship with Superman and Clark Kent, more or less. But she's not a freaking damsel. She's there, she's doing what she can with her journalistic integrity, her womanism, but she's not just falling off buildings. That's basically what it comes down to. I really hate Amy Adams. I'm sorry. So the fact that this Lois is just a cartoon Lois, infinitely better. Number 7. It has a cameo that doesn't blow its load in the trailer. Yes, the movie had Wonder Woman. We get it. We got it before we saw the movie, which was unfortunate because a lot was riding on that. A lot was impressive about that. And all the anticipation and awesomeness was lost. Which, in the long run, doesn't really matter, but it does. Wonder Woman was actually one of the few things I really liked about the movie. I've never liked Wonder Woman. She's like the checklist of we need a female, so this chick will do. I know that's not actually what she's about, but it's the impression I've always got. But in this movie, I really did like her. She was one of the stronger characters and she had the more awesome moments than any of the other characters in the movie. So yes, I like Wonder Woman. In the episode of Brave and the Bold, they have Superdog. He does about the same things that Wonder Woman does. He comes in, he helps her fight. He's cool. And he wasn't in the trailer. There was no trailer. You know what I mean. Number 6. Lex Luthor was Lex Luthor. I actually like Jesse Eisenberg. I do, I think. I enjoy him in most things that he's in. He's a good guy. Actually, no, he's an arsehole in real life, but I like Jesse Eisenberg. And I was one of the few people that was keen to see how he was going to pull off Lex Luthor, the most classic villain, the intelligent, rich, suave, manipulative, rich guy. I was wondering how I was gonna go. Being one of the most dangerous villains of all time, played by what was obviously one of the most questionable actors. Everyone was skeptic about this. And you fucking ruined it, Jesse. I don't know what he was going for. Let's just leave it at that. I have no idea. It was too... You saw the movie. You know he sucked. He was supposedly the mastermind of the film. He's what manipulated all the events into happening the way they did. And Lex Luthor was the same in the episode too. He's the mastermind behind everything. He's the one who exposed Superman to the red kryptonite through Lois and whatever that kid's name is. So they play similar roles. He's in the background, but he's also what's making all this shit happen. And he does it in the most Lex Luthor way. He's secretive, he's cunning, he's villainous. And he looks like Lex Luthor, even though he's fat for some reason in this cartoon. He has all the Lex Luthor-y qualities. Jesse is just a weird, spitting little kid. Number 5. It didn't require an uncut release to make frickin' sense. What are you doing, Hollywood? What are you doing? DC in particular. A movie should be a singular experience. You pay money to go and sit for how many hours to watch this, to get this experience, to enjoy the characters, to get involved. That's what a movie is meant to be. And you're adding all this shit. You're justifying all your mistakes by saying, oh, well, you meant to buy the Blu-ray. No! I've spent my money. Fuck off! An extended version is meant to add just a little bit, not major plot points, not things that make your entire movie make sense. It's meant to just add little bits so the fans who want that little bit extra can enjoy it. It's not meant to be you're defining everything. Your theatrical release is meant to be what people think when they think the movie. They're not meant to think, oh well, yeah, but they had this in that part, so it's better. I'm really salty about this because just recently I went and saw Alien Covenant and apparently what I saw was just the bullshit moments. Everything you're meant to see is on YouTube for some reason. It's like, oh my god, I want to watch a movie. I don't want to have to do homework beforehand. It's like DLC in movies. Like, Zack Snyder, you've ruined it. I've already seen all that I intend to see. Don't gift wrap a used condom and expect me to enjoy it. Number 4. It's just Batman vs Superman. It doesn't try to be overblown. It doesn't have all this extra stuff in it that's forced and rushed and trying to be world building when it's really just taking time away from what it's meant to be. It's not trying to introduce Wonder Woman, Justice League, Doomsday, Death of Superman, we'll get to that in a second, etc, etc, etc. All this crap needs time. More movies to establish these things, adequate writing, and all the stuff that goes in to an... You're not Marvel, DC, you're not Marvel. I like your animated movies, but in the Brave and the Bold episode, that's all that it was. A reason for them to fight, and then they fight, and they resolve it. This movie was everything that it's... You know what I'm getting at. It's trying to be Marvel, but it's rushing it. It is blowing its load. I'm bringing up the load blowing a lot, but that's exactly what it is. Number 3. The whole Superman dying thing. Nope. Nope. I'm sure I don't need to go into it, but for the sake of clarity, the death of Superman is a huge thing. I'm not a huge comic book fan, but I know that this moment is significant. It's a huge moment for all the Superman fans, for the entire universe, you know, the DC universe. It's a huge moment. It's knowing that the most godlike being that we know of can be beaten, and it's huge and it's touching and intense. And they blew their fucking load. There we go again. The death of a character is a good device in writing, and I'm loving that I'm seeing it more and more in things, mostly thanks to Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. It sort of helps you to become attached, but also keeps you on your toes, because at any moment your favourite character could die, and in what way are they gonna die? The possibilities are endless. And it just adds an element that really gets you involved, that really freaks you out, and it's a good writing mechanism. It can make you upset, it gets you involved emotionally, basically, is what a death can do. It challenges the audiences, seeing characters that they love being in these situations. It can invoke heartbreak, it can invoke anger. That's what it's meant to do. They didn't do it here. Film is a passionate medium. You can't force this shit. Because it happened in the comics and it was awesome in the comics, doesn't mean it's going to be awesome in your movie. Nobody cared when Superman died because this is only the second movie that he's been in. We know he's going to come back to life. It was more like, oh god, that really happened, rather than, oh no, Superman. Does that explain it? Am I articulating myself well enough? Because I feel myself getting angry. I hope you don't mind. And, well, yeah, the episode of Brave and the Bold didn't have that. They know what's meant to be shown in Batman vs Superman. Even if it's not the classic story, they still fight, that's what it's about, and that's why it's good. Number 2. The mum thing was done better in this episode. Yes, there was a mum moment. I love it, I love Brave and the Bold. But we all know the Martha scene. It is infamous for how ridiculous it is. It is so bad. Let me just play it.
You're letting him kill Martha. Save Martha.
I feel so sorry for anyone whose name in real life is Martha. Oh my god. And then here is the scene in Brave and the Bold.
Look at yourself. What would Ma Kent think? Ma?
It's silly. It's so silly, but it's infinitely less silly than the movie version. Like, my god. So, there's that. Number 1. It's just overall better. With all these elements in play, it's just a better experience to sit through this than to sit through the torment and pain and anguish and frustration that is the movie. The motivation is clearer. The fighting is, sure, it's not as expensive and big budget and Hollywoody as in the movie, but you know why they're fighting and it's fun to watch. They're still doing all the smashing shit, they're still blowing shit up, it's still cool, and all the other elements in play, the Martha crap, the Lex Luthor crap, all that stuff, it just makes this episode something I would much rather sit through than the movie. Like, my god, I would rather watch this a million times than go through the headache that was the movie. I am coming off as really negative right now, and that's not something that I often do, and that's what annoys me. I was expecting to love this movie. I was one of the few people that was optimistic. I wanted to see Ben Affleck be Batman. I wanted to see Jesse Eisenberg be Lex Luthor. I wanted to see how they made it happen. And this is me post-movie watching. So I hope you understand and don't get too offended by how I am in this video. But I needed to articulate myself. I needed to make this fun comparison because it is fun. I'm not trying to be too serious about it. I just wanted to talk about the two things, put them in the same boat and see what happens, because if you haven't seen this episode of Brave and the Bold, do watch it. It goes for 20 minutes, not a million hours, and it's everything that it needs to be, unlike the movie. So, I hope this is okay. I had fun making this video. I like to rant, but again, I hope I don't offend anyone. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm going through a whole filming craze right now. I'm just gonna film everything while I can before I move. And it's fun. I love you all. I'll see you around.